I feel like, well, everyone knows. I feel like Richard Dawson died with herpes. Where was that one?
Right here.
In
All
your
right.
butt.
Yeah, mostly a poet. And I did bring a story, so I'm going to read poetry first. That's just the way I roll. But I did bring a very short story that's going to be published by Lorelei Signal very soon, so I just want to give them a shout out. But before that, poetry. This is called The Chicanery of Drunk Boys, which is, I guess, appropriate tonight. The way they smile and take your hand, sing 80s rock classics off key, changing words, lures you into the belief that you are at last the only girl in the room. The time invested shaving, peeling, pressing, running, plucking, money spent on hair, collagen wax, that bra that lifts and separates now seems to pay off, so that you don't even notice they've crawled uptown to the next open pub while you ducked into the ladies, laughing with your friends. It is only much later as you lay in your bed alone, recalling the modesty of your ex-spouse, wrapping a towel around the hips you used to press to the small of your back, that you begin to feel cheated of all the plump lips and pretty hair and expensive leather boots cannot fill. All right, I'm just going to move on to more sex poems. I-90 leaves an ache. It seems like every time I come to Dyer, I write a poem afterwards, so this is an after Dyer poem. It is nights like this I wish I could drive straight to your bed and sleep till you came home to rub the pain from the base of my spine, until I wake and tell stories, traffic bottlenecked in the easy pass lane, the stranger who stared too long at the rest stop. I'd like to hear your stories too, how the audition went wrong, the untold tales on the faces of the players around the craps table, new jokes, the half-truths fabricated from the anxiety that dogs your steps. But you are not the man to allow words to drop from your mouth into my willing ear. Instead, the massage would last only as long as it would take for my eyes to open, before your tongue would weave fictions of another kind against my skin, whispering secrets around my breasts, paving highways down my belly. And along that common theme, this one's called Eros. The body manipulates itself for the pleasure of forgetting, plowing through tits and ass like sheaves of wheat, sweat dripping from field to field, life covers life. Both run from the true, fear consumed with a moan, a sigh, a whisper of a misplaced name on a stranger's lips. Memory never gained, a race never won. All right, and here's the short story, which is completely and utterly different. I've been working on a collection for a little while of, I guess you could call them fractured fairy tales, sort of. Kind of going back to what the fairy tales actually meant, like Goldilocks. Everybody knows Goldilocks. However, nobody knows that Goldilocks originally was a little old woman who was a thief. She didn't have golden hair. She wasn't pretty. She wasn't looking for some place to stay, lost in the woods, afraid for her mother. No, she was looking for a house to rob. And this is how Goldilocks meets her bear. Many think my size is a curse, brought on by whatever god she bore me may have worshipped. Not so if you know how to use your height to advantage. When all they can see of you as you slip through the crowds, the mess of curls and pale blue knickers, they never notice the toothless old dwarf grinning at the side of the road, seeking the child that made off with her pocket watch. So too is the benefit of size creeping into homes left empty on market day. A window is easy to slip through, the crack in the door never a deterrent. Plenty of places to hide when you're less than 3 feet high. The trick is to keep your dress simple, never something flashy that might catch the eye of a prompt homeowner. Also to steal only what is needed that day, what won't be missed. A bowl of cream and a moment's rest in a comfortable chair will do. Greed will get you hung, no matter what your size or age. Yes, it was an imperfect life, but I got by well. Plenty of freedom to drift from town to town, all pertinent needs met one way or another. My sins were small, and I gave little thought to repaying them. Perhaps I should have taken to better accounting. A long-held rule among thieves is to leave the solitary house alone, but on that day the wood was long and my bones were tired from traveling through it. It is also wise to never trust things that come in threes, but I was so hungry I never counted the bowls. So tired I barely noticed the chairs as I pulled the cushions from them and heaped them up on the toy-sized bed. It was such a nest that the hairy man found me, his face painted in filth, grief flashing in his eye. The theft of his wife and child by the Fey folk had driven him mad, and in his madness he saw nothing but a changeling to take their place. My sleep was so deep I did not feel the chain slip around my ankle, the notches cut in my ear, marking me a slave for life. So here I remain, reluctant wife and daughter both, Giselle to a lunatic. The burden is light, my belly is full, but my hair grows long as I stir the porch and stare longingly through the cottage window, the forest path and the world to be found at its end. I want for nothing but freedom. Even the file with which I cut through my bonds was a gift undenied. I told the poor thing it was for my nails, and a soft memory flashed through his eyes. The long-lost wife shaping her chore-worn hands just so after a long day. He found it where she had left it, in the sewing basket under her rocking chair, and placed it reverently in my waiting palm. The day the chain broke free, I was alone in the cottage. The winter chill raked at my feet as I ran down the path. The woods were larger than I'd imagined, and I spent the night alone under the spreading branches of a young pine. My sleep was troubled, and in dreams I saw the warmth of my hairy man. Morning brought a feast of grubs, roots clawed from the ground with my well-fashioned nails. I could not help but think of the fresh bread I had left cooling on the table, the fresh milk given by the goat who bleated after me as I ran. But I am free now to once again choose where I go, how I live. A little bit of comfort is not worth the bonds placed on me. I press onward down the path. Thank you.